Begin your practice in hero pose, if that's comfortable for your body. Sitting up with a tall spine, shoulders dropping down away from the ears, with the heels underneath the seat. If it's uncomfortable on the knees, please don't stay. Come into any other seated posture that feels better for you. That might be cross-legged or with the legs extended out in front of you. Something else you could try is sitting up on a little bit of height, having a bolster or a pillow underneath your seat, and that extra height can help take some of the pressure off the knees as well as the feet. There'll be a few times in this routine where we come to hero pose, but please feel free to find something more comfortable if necessary. Softening through the eyes, forehead, and jaw. To release a little bit more through the jaw, you might open and close the mouth a few times, or shift the jaw around. Stick your tongue out. It doesn't matter if you make silly faces, no one can see you. The shoulders slide down the back. The chin's about parallel to the floor. Maybe even drawing the head back slightly, pretending there's a wall behind you and you're trying to lean up against it. Tuning into the breath, finding the inhale and the exhale. The belly rises and swells on the inhale. And on the exhale, there's a subtle drawing back as you pull the energy back in towards your body, back in towards your core. Inhaling to breathe out, breathing down the arms, the legs, up the spine. And then exhaling, gently draw back. Low belly draws in slightly. Pelvic floor, the muscles at the base of the pelvis, draw up a little bit. Inhale to let go, relax. Exhale to pull that breath, that energy back in. Low belly draws back. Hands to prayer. Inhale, reach your arms out and up to the sky. Exhale, slide them through prayer position. Inhale again, reach up and out, spread the fingers. Exhale, hands back through to prayer. Breathing out and up. Draw the hands, the energy back in towards the body. Reach the arms wide as you stretch to the sky. The gaze can go along with the hands if that's comfortable for you. Big breath in. And lowering the hands back down to prayer. Come into all fours position. Knees underneath the hips. Wrists underneath the shoulders. Fingers spread very wide. Exhale, lower the head. Press the low back up to the sky. Inhale, belly slides forward, little bit of an arch, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, draw back on the belly, gather at the pelvic floor, push the low back up. Inhale, belly slides forward, come into that little bit of an arch. Just finding a little bit more warmth in the spine. Try to let your tailbone lead the way. And be mindful that you're not overarching, pushing the low back into more of a curve that feels comfortable for you. Come back to that neutral position when you're ready. On the exhale, roll back and then draw yourself through your hands. Head drops down, low back up. Push the hips back, a little bit of a child's pose, and then draw yourself up and through. This is called prana pump. If you haven't done this much before, it can feel a little awkward, but you'll find with practice it should feel more comfortable. Try going the other way, so roll into that arch first, then draw back into child's pose, back through to all fours. Belly slides forward, hips push back, back to all fours. You might find this direction a little bit more challenging than the first direction. It's normal. Just letting the head go along for the ride. Coming back to that neutral position, walk the hands a little bit more forward. Pinkies just about touch the sides of the mat. Toes tuck under. Shift weight into the hands and then push the weight back into the legs for downward dog. Now come right back down again, back into all fours. Exhale, push up and back for dog. Inhale to lower. Up and back, building a little bit of upper body strength. There'll be work in the upper body for sure, but there shouldn't be any pain in the shoulders. Breathing. Move the feet a little bit closer together. Take the left leg up to the sky, open high. Getting a little bit more space into the hips, a bit more of a challenge in this downward dog. Going back to that center downward dog, then raising the right leg high to the sky, opening through the hips and also challenging the balance, the strength a little bit more in the upper body. Feel that extension coming out through the foot. Try to keep the weight equal in the hands. Lower that leg back down again. Bring the knees down to the ground. Coming into push-ups, there's several variations. The first one you might start with is just pulling the knees back slightly from the hips. So modified. You can make it more challenging by bringing the knees up off the ground, full push-ups. Or the easiest version, knees right underneath the hips, all fours. Inhale down. Exhale up. Let the elbows flare out to the sides as you come down. Exhale, push the ground away. Letting the arms go to straight, but not hyperextending the elbows. So here you're building some strength in your chest, shoulders, a little bit of strength through your abdominals, and some strength in the triceps, the muscles at the back of the arms. Use your breath, really push the ground away from you and you exhale. Reach back into child's pose, have a breather, let your forehead come down to the mat. Circle your wrists out a few times to release them. The wrists will be a little bit noisy for sure, that's normal. Breathing into the back of the body. We'll be doing 2 sets of each exercise. In between the exercises, you'll either take a breather like a child's pose, or you'll do a stretch that corresponds with the area that we just worked. Feel free to spend as much time as you need in your rests. If you're ready, coming back up for your second set of push-ups, maybe the same variation you did the last time, maybe something different. Hands are spread wide, inhaling down, exhaling up. Remember to draw back on the low belly, gather up on the pelvic floor so you've got that extra strength. Keeping the shoulder blades moving down the back the whole time so the shoulders stay away from your ears. Keep the thumbs pushing down. They tend to lift up a little bit. Come back into hero pose if that's okay. Take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, lift through the chest and shoulders. Draw the hands back a little bit. Maybe the gaze lifts slightly if that feels appropriate for your neck. Send breath and space into the chest and shoulders. Release the hands, reach one arm up to the sky, and take a little bit of a lean to the side. Your fingers might touch the ground. Continue to keep both shoulders away from the ears. Breathe right into the side body. Inhale back through to center, exhale to the other side. Drop down, shoulders relax. Lots of breath into the side body. That's where we're trying to find the release. Keep soft in the face, especially the jaw. Coming back through to center. Setting yourself up for a dolphin variation of downward dog. Forearms on the ground, hands clasp. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips, push up and back. Lower right back down again. Exhale, push up and back for dog. Inhale to lower. This is an extra challenge for the shoulders, a little bit tougher than regular downward dog. It's also a little bit more challenging on your hamstring flexibility, so potentially your feet need to walk in closer. Holding for this last one, creating a little bit more strength in the body. Breathing into this work. Still finding that stability, that strength from the deep core, abdominals, pelvic floor, slightly engaging on each exhale. Remember, this is your practice. You can always come out of the poses earlier if you need to. When you're ready, come out, head back to your child's pose to relax. Elbow softening and drawing the arms back a little bit will help keep your shoulders relaxed and help maintain that length in the back of the neck. Feel the breath move into the lower body, the low back, the side ribs, the belly. Going back up again, prepping for second set. Elbows and shoulders in the same line. Clasping the hands if it feels good. Tuck the toes. Push up and back for your dog. And then lowering back down again. Another 5 or so to complete the set. And the last one will be a hold. Maybe it's an exhale as you press up and back, and an inhale to come down. Here's the hold. Still keeping the shoulders well away from the ears. Still maintaining that length in the neck, and the neck's really neutral. Lowering down. Coming back into hero pose if that's appropriate. Releasing the neck, chin drops down to the chest. Breathe into the upper spine. Take some half neck circles, so just letting the chin roll around in the front of the body. Shoulders stay away from the ears the whole time. You might need to keep reminding yourself to do that. Breath is smooth and steady. Bringing the gaze back up through to center. Coming back into all fours, hands a little closer together. These are tricep push-ups. It's an inhale as you come down, elbows stay glued into the sides. Exhale, push back up. With the elbows tucked in like this, it isolates your triceps better. Those are the muscles at the back of the upper arms. Potentially this type of push-up feels much more difficult than the first variation we did, with the hands a little wider and the elbows flaring out to the sides. Sink back into child's pose. Take a breather. Flip-flop the wrists a couple of times if that feels appropriate. And rest. Breath moves in, breath moves out. Coming up for your second set, fingers spread wide, hands close together, inhaling down. Exhaling up. Elbows, it's almost like they stay glued in towards the body. Try not to let all the weight drop into the wrists. You want to pull some forward into your fingers and into the knuckle pads. Don't forget about the thumbs and the index fingers as well. Sit back into hero pose. Releasing through triceps and shoulders, one arm reaches up and back. The other hand could press from the bottom or come up and pull at the elbow. Or a more challenging version, arm reaches up and back. Hands may connect at the back of the body, but for some of you, that's not possible, and it's not necessarily because of your flexibility. It's because of the length of your arms and the length of your torso. So an option is to use a t-shirt as the connection, or just don't let your hands touch. It's fine either way. If it hurts the bottom shoulder to have the other arm in, don't do that. Other arm reaches up and back, bends back. You can push from the bottom, pull from the top, or the arm reaches around. But please don't push through pain. If that feels uncomfortable on that bottom shoulder, don't do this variation. You don't have to go this deep. Keep finding those core connections. Exhale, gently draw back at the low belly, lift up on the pelvic floor. Getting a wonderful stretch through the triceps, but also a release through the shoulders. Releasing the arms, making your way down towards your belly, extending the legs back behind you. Bending the elbows, finding what's called cactus position. Elbows flare out to the sides. On the inhale, lift the torso, draw the arms back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Release back down again. Very strong core here. Inhaling to lift, draw the shoulders back, lowering back down, coming up, draw back, lower to release. A beautiful upper body strengthener. 2 more coming up. Draw the shoulder blades back. Last time, come on up. Draw the arms back. Lowering back down to rest, turn your gaze to one side. You get a nice neck stretch here. Breathe into the back of your body. Yoga is excellent for building upper body strength, but I find sometimes the back upper body gets missed a little bit. So this exercise and the next exercise are really great for keeping that back body strength. As you're ready, cactus arms again, strong in the core, lifting up, draw the elbows back. Lower back down again. So there's a real feeling of squeezing the shoulder blades together as you lift the chest. Feel like your legs are drawing in towards each other, even if they're not touching. And still find that sense of core, low belly's drawing back, pelvic floor's lifting up. Lowering back down to rest, gaze goes the other way to even out the stretch in the neck. Lots of breath here into the back of the body. It's really difficult to get breath into the back of the body, so use these type of poses on your belly or in child's pose to focus, moving the breath back. Releasing, extending the arms, coming up for Superman's, palms face towards each other, strong in the core. Opposite arm to leg, lift, alternating from side to side. When you lift your leg, you're lifting from your hip, from your glute. When you lift your arm, you're lifting from your shoulder. There will be work in the low back. You should feel like it's awake and active, but there should not be any pain. If there's any pain for whatever reason, please take this as an indication to stop doing this exercise. Rest. Bend the knees, feet up to the sky. Just let the legs flop from side to side and let the hips go along for the ride. It's a nice low back release. Setting up for second set, reach the arms forward, shoulders away from the ears, strong core. Lifting opposite arm to leg. Having a little bit of a bend in the elbow and feeling like you're very firmly drawing your upper arm back into your shoulder socket will help maintain the length in the spine and keep the shoulders away from the ears. Notice how I'm looking down the whole time so I don't jam the back of my neck. Push back. Pull the knees underneath. Transitioning through your seat. To make your way onto your back, just rolling back, drawing the knees in towards the chest. If it feels comfortable, a little bit of a shift or a rock from side to side. Releasing the legs, stretch the arms out to T position. Shift the hips a little bit towards the left. Let the knees drop down towards the right. If it's safe for you, you can take your gaze away from your knees. For some of you though, you'll be more comfortable keeping the gaze up towards the sky, or maybe towards your knees. Those are both really neutral. Head back through to center, arms press into the ground, bring the legs back through to center, even out the hips. Shift the hips a little bit to the right, and then the knees drop down towards the left. Settle in, soften the hands. They might need to come down a little bit lower. The gaze could go away from the knees if it was completely safe on the neck. Please don't force it. Breath moves in, breath moves out. Belly rises, belly falls. Head back through to center, arms into the ground, legs back through to center, even out the hips. Preparing for Shavasana, grabbing any layers that you might need. Hands or palms face up, arms a little out from the body. The legs are straight only if it feels comfortable. For some of you, it will feel better to have your feet flat on the floor and your knees bent. Allow yourself to completely drop down. Belly and pelvic floor are soft. Let each exhale take you a little bit deeper. Feel free to stay in Shavasana as long as you're comfortable. Thank your body for all its hard work, and thank you for joining me today. Namaste.